Alright, it's Vex. And today we have our Gabe, I'm just kidding, we have our Myrkul, Lord of Bones deck tech. This deck is replacing my Gabe deck, which I have retired in a previous video. I've been looking for over a year for a good Abzan deck to replace it with. And Myrkul, Lord of Bones, is a wonderful Abzan deck. Gabe is just really objectively powerful. Myrkul is just fun and it requires you to do a lot of cool different things and has a lot of different themes with it. Let's just read what Myrkul, Lord of Bones, which is a god, does. 4 white, black, green, so 4 Abzan colors. Legendary creature, god. As long as your life total is less than or equal to half your starting life total, Myrkul has indestructible. So basically, if it's 20 or less, indestructible. Just sweet. So I love that. It's not instantly indestructible. It's just, you gotta work for that indestructibility. It'd be cool if it had ward or something, but indestructible, not bad. Your commander is hefty, but the cool part is the second line of text. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may exile. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's an enchantment and loses all other card types. So if it's a creature, it just becomes just plain enchantment, which is really cool because your creatures, if Myrkul's on the board, when they die, let's say you get a board wipe, Myrkul will die too if it's not indestructible. They all die and they all become enchantments that are not creatures, so it can't be board wiped again. So I think that's super cool. Myrkul can be taken into a lot of directions, like more enchantress directions, more aristocrat directions, or any hybrid in between, like the high mana value. So you got to work towards Myrkul. You can't just play it early, then start sacking creatures early. 7 mana value is quite the investment, then 9, then 11. So Myrkul is cool, and then if you could get the indestructibility clause going, only like exile clause will get rid of it, or sack clause will get rid of it. Myrkul is really cool there. And also, Myrkul is a 7/5. Any commander with a power of 7, always take note of, because 7, it takes 3 hits for commander damage to apply. So, hit 1, 2, 3. Myrkul is indestructible. You could board wipe and attack a person, which is really cool. I am going to use this Myrkul, the etched foil Myrkul, as my commander, and I have the name tag ready to be put onto the top of the deck box here. But for illustrative purposes and camera purposes, this Myrkul is much easier to read and see, so I'm going to use this. I do have some cool tokens, so don't forget to have your tokens here. And then in this token, I have these little enchantment markers, so when creatures turn to enchantments, like hypothetically this devoted Druid, I could do enchantment marker so it's not a creature, it's just an enchantment. Or what I've done in the past is to mark it like that. I would just turn the creature upside down, and this is enchantment, or put it into like enchantment zone. Just be like, all these guys are enchantments. Before you get started, again, have your tokens. I love having my tokens. Then have some markers to figure out, if things are enchantments or not. I have the deck list in the description below, along with the cool affiliate links if you want to help support the channel. Click on the deck list, add a comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. So let's begin the deck tech. So of course, I love my combos. We do have the combo with Myrkul, Lord of Bones, and these creatures here from Shadowmoor. I have the Ultimate Masters version of Devoted Druid, Cinder Haze Wretch, Barrington Medic. So let's talk about Devoted Druid real quick. So Devoted Druid becomes an enchantment right there via death through Myrkul, or via swift reconfiguration, a card that is in our deck, a removal card, or a combo card. And let's actually read this real quick. Costs 1 white, flash, enchant creature or vehicle. Enchanted permanent is a vehicle, artifact with crew 5. It loses all other card types. So essentially not a creature, not art. Well, it turns into an artifact, not a creature any longer. So hypothetically, if you get the Myrkul bonus or the swift reconfiguration enchantment, this is not a creature. So what you can do is it still gets a tap ability, and you don't have to worry about summoning sickness. So you can use it to turn it comes into play. Tap it for green. Then you can put a -1/-1 counter on Devoted Druid, untap it, right? You put a -1/-1 counter, but it doesn't do anything because it's not a creature. So you can keep on tapping it and put more -1/-1 counters for infinite green mana. So that's the combo with Myrkul. Cinder Haze Witch. Not a lot of people play this card. This is essentially has a -1/-1 counter trick that Devoted Druid does have, but has target player discards a card, play its ability only during your turn. So essentially, if you have Cinder Haze Witch and it's an enchantment, you can just tap it, make everybody discard all cards during your turn, which is insanely mean, but it's part of the game. So Hopefully they don't concede, play on. Who knows? If they really like torture, they won't concede, but most likely they'll probably concede because they have no cards in hand. If this commander was blue, you could Cyclonic Rift and make him discard every card, so that'd be even meaner. We have not as impactful. I believe I don't have an infinite mana combo. It just makes a lot of mana just to be used for the deck. So that's what that's there for. Burrington Medic. You can prevent the next 1 damage that will be dealt to target creature or player. If you have turn enchantment mode, you keep using it over and over again. It'd be very hard to deal damage to you or any creature. So you have to have destroy-based effects to destroy creatures. And also, this is enchantment. Enchantments are also I would say the most sticky permanents, because most people aim for artifacts, creatures, and such. But lands are the stickiest because they're like almost indestructible. Enchantments are next stickiest because not a lot of people gun for them. And then planeswalkers are the easiest to remove because people just attack them. All right, moving on from the combo, we have other cool cards that can be turned into enchantments. Let's visit those cards. Naturally Dying is a way with Myrkul on the board to turn them into enchantments. However, sometimes we want to do some forced death. Some sack outlets right here. We have 4 creatures sack outlets, and sometimes Vizier Seer can sack itself with Myrkul on the battlefield to turn to an enchantment sacrifice outlet, which is really cool. Sack creature scry 1. You have Woe Strider, secondary creature scry 1, so you can't sack itself, but it does come with a little goat. That's pretty cool. Sack outlet doesn't cost any mana. You have Yawgmoth right here. Pay 1 life, secondary creature. Put +1/+1 counter up to 1 target creature and draw a card. So these are the manaless sack outlets. I should have just done it that way here, which is really neat. And Yawgmoth is very strong on rate if it's not a creature, because it still has a sack, protect from humans, and discard a card, proliferate. You have Fiend Artisan, which you can tap, pay X, and Golgari, secondary creatures, search for more creatures that you can, maybe a sack outlet, so you can be sacrificed later. This is kind of like a anti-synergy with the deck because it gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard. Myrkul does exile creature cards, so you don't actually stay in the graveyard. However, we're using it mostly as a tutor and sack outlet. Plumb the Forbidden. It's a good way to sack a bunch of creatures. Good card draw. It's not technically a creature, but sometimes you gotta have some good spells in your deck. I forgot to mention in the beginning, or I did mention that you could do an enchantment, an aristocrats, or a hybrid strategy, or anywhere in between. We are doing some enchantment themed stuff because these do turn into enchantments, and the enchantments do ETB since they're tokens. We're not playing things like Sithis, which requires you to cast enchantments. Only things that ETB, like Constellation type cards. Speaking of Constellation, we have these are our activated creatures with activated abilities. We have Underworld Coinsmith, whites and a black, and has Constellation, which is the ETB effect, which is exactly what we want. So you gotta be careful. If you want to add cards, you try to get the ETB ones, not the cast ones. Whenever it or another enchantment ETBs under your control, gain 1 life. Sometimes you do want to, hurt yourself to get Myrkul, or get yourself down to 20 so you get Myrkul indestructible. So ETB gain 1 life, so you can get your life back. Sometimes you get a little too low, you need to pad back up. Or you could pay 1 white and black, pay 1 life. Each opponent loses 1 life. So that's the cool thing, is that you can also pay mana to reduce your life total a little bit, and everybody's life total at that rate. We have our Graveyard Hate Scavenging Ooze. I love Scavenging Ooze, and I wish they actually had an enchantment version of Scavenging Ooze, so it wasn't so vulnerable to board wipe, but exiles creature cards from graveyards. Then we have 2 enchantment creatures. Well, these 3 are enchantment creatures. Destiny Spinner and Weaver of Harmony. Destiny Spinner makes your enchantment spells and creatures uncounterable. Then it has a cool trinket text not trinket text, very, very relevant text. Target land you control becomes an XX elemental creature with trample and haste until end turn with X number of enchantments you control. So that could be one of your win conditions. Get these lands really big and smack in for the win. Weaver of Harmony. Other enchantment creatures you control get +1/+1. So while they're still creatures, that's not the important part. The important part here is copy target, activate, or triggered ability you control from enchantment source. You may choose new targets for the copy. So you have a lot of enchantments via Myrkul, so you can copy the trigger ability, which I love. And if this is an enchantment that's not a creature, you could just do that over and over again with haste because it's not a creature. We have some more creatures with, like ETB effects right here, or static abilities that you want to keep on the board even after they die. The cool part about it is, you can do Eternal Witness. You could double trigger the ETB once as a creature, once an enchantment. Unfortunately, it doesn't do that much on the battlefield. It's just like a kind of like an enchantment, a do nothing enchantment on the battlefield. But it, as we'll see, the card draw triggering from enchantments ETBing is also very good. Doomwake Giant, it ETBs or another enchantment. So with Constellation, opponent's creature gets -1/-1. So that's really good as a static ability on a non-creature enchantment. Wonder Archaic. This is actually a replacement for a card that I think people have incorrectly put in this deck, Esper Sentinel. Esper Sentinel is not in the deck. Don't ever put that in this deck. It doesn't work the way you want it to work. But Wonder Archaic is a good tax. Elish Norn is good Anthem in the enchantment zone. I'm calling it the enchantment zone from now on. Sounds good. Yes, let's go back to Esper Sentinel. The reason why you don't want Esper Sentinel is it's good as a creature. It does nothing as a non-creature because it says whenever opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless that player plays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power. Esper Sentinel has no power when it's an enchantment, so you pay nothing. It's just a trigger that does nothing. So don't include that in your deck unless you just want the front side. We have creatures that make more creatures. Has Constellation, Archon of Sun's Grace, makes some cool creatures. Gissa, Glorious Resurrector, 2 black, legendary creature, human wizard. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile instead. At the beginning of your upkeep, put all creature cards exiled with Gissa, Glorious Resurrector onto a battlefield under your control. The card itself, not just a token, right? They gain decay. So the card that gains decay. And Myrkul says whenever a non-token creature you control dies, not you own, you control. So Gissa can take your opponent's creatures, and then you can sack them, have them die, and have a Myrkul enchantment zone token. So that's really cool. You can take your opponent's stuff. Tenacious Dryad just makes a bunch of saplings and saves Blessing. Bellageo's Wither Bloom. Beginning of each upkeep, make a 1/1 pest and pay 10 life, untap all lands you control. Which is really cool because imagine having an enchantment version of this or enchantment version of Tenacious Dryad makes a green 1/1 green. What are you talking about? 1/1 green sapling token each turn. The cool part about this deck is you can mix and match a lot of cool cards with static abilities, triggered abilities, activated abilities, or just ETB abilities. That's why I love when Wizards makes cool cards like this that don't seem very overpowered, that make you do work but can give you cool benefits as long as you do the work. I did speak about card draw, and then we have some good card draw here. Iron Blossoms has Constellation, draw a card. This one essentially Constellation. When enchantment, they both have enchantment. When enchantment, like ETBs, draw a card. This one is also an enchantment itself, so it will trigger other things like Contestant Champion, draw a card. Beast Whisperer, when you cast a creature, draw a card. This is also cool as in the enchantment zone. Grim Horseback, when something dies, another non-token creature dies, draw a card. So this one comes into play is essentially when it dies, draw a card. The reason this one does have a cast trigger, so you gotta remember that. So it doesn't draw a card when Myrkul token enters the enchantment zone. You have Sylvan Library, Black Market Connection. So enchantments here, we are playing a more hybrid enchantment sack deck. So these enchantments will trigger these 2 cards, draw a card, and they also are card draw itself. Sylvan Library, which I actually really like these 2 cards. Let's talk more about these 2 cards in general. They make you pay life to draw cards, which is exactly what we kind of want to do with Myrkul. Is start paying life early, getting our life down, not too down to get Myrkul indestructible when we can finally cast it at cast a god at 7 mana. Here's our removal suite. We do, since we are playing enchantment theme, we have tilted our enchantment removal, our removal towards enchantments like Kenrith's Transformation. It also does ETB draw a card, Aura Shards, which is pretty darn good if anybody's played against that. Dictate of Erebos, so yeah, can kill enchantments and artifacts. Dictate of Erebos. The Meathook Massacre. I love the Meathook Massacre because it is enchantment, it is a removal spell, and it has a static ability that lets you gain and drain. Just remember, be conscious of how low or high you are for Myrkul's indestructible clause. Swords, so these are just regular spell based. They're so good that there's no enchantment version that's just as good as they are. Swords kill, exiling creature, even Myrkul. Azim Charm, We're playing an Abzan deck. This is not the most powerful card. I recommend not including it. It's a pet card, you know. Exile target creature with power 3 or greater. Draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life. Losing 2 life is very important here. Distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures, which I've never really done. It's just the first or second clause. These 2 are very good, or these 3 are very good permanent removal. Angles on Making doesn't hit lands, but these do hit lands. So sometimes you just need generically really good cards. You know, sometimes you just need board wipes, and actually in this deck you don't mind board wipes that much. Unfortunately, with the board wipe, you will wipe your commander if he's not indestructible yet. You got Toxic Deluge, Austere Command, Vanquish the Horde. I don't recommend the Destroy All Enchantments part of Austere Command, but you know, who knows? You might need to do that. Your creatures haven't turned into enchantments yet, so you don't mind doing that. Farewell. I just love Farewell. I know it exiles and it doesn't contribute to Myrkul, but Farewell is such a good card because it does exile graveyards. Our graveyard doesn't matter as much because all our creatures are being exiled through Myrkul anyways. So this is always a good safety net if necessary. We do have some protection spells just in case our enchantments or our life or whatever gets targeted. Heroic Intervention, Teferi's Protection, just ultimately good. Sterling Grove, gives your enchantments Shroud, even the ones with the enchantment zone, I call. Or you could search for enchantment if necessary. Sphere of Safety, we are playing a lot of enchantments. I love Sphere of Safety because of the fact that they got to pay X to attack you for each creature, or X the number of enchantments you control, and we're making a lot of enchantments. I don't like Ghostly Prison or Propaganda because it's just always 2. This one scales so high. If you have 10 enchantments, you have to pay 10 to attack you, so it really keeps you safe from attack. Battle Recovery, Ultra Staple and Grain, gets you anything back from your graveyard. Sometimes your creatures will die and not get Myrkuled, that's a new word. So you can get it back. Or you play as a land, that's what's so good. Soulguide Lantern, Ultra Staple. And remember with Myrkul, the creature has to die and hit your graveyard and be in your graveyard. Then Myrkul will trigger and then exile from your graveyard. So if you are playing against Myrkul, Soulguide, you could sack Soulguide Lantern and exile the graveyard before the creature comes back through Myrkul. We have a lot more enchantment-based ramp than the usual deck. We actually don't have the usual Cultivate, Farseek package because we want our ramp to be enchantment-based to trigger their Enchantress effects, our Constellation effects, and get more benefits that way. Font of Fertility, 1 green to cast, 1 green, you get a basic land card. Wild Growth, 1 green enchant, get an extra green. Colony, Heart Expedition, you need triple landfall to get the lands, but it's cost 2 mana, comes down early, or it comes out late, draws you a card, which is really neat. Omen the Hunt lets you get a land, has Flash, which I really like, and can scry. Overgrowth is like Wild Growth, but with 2 green, and Smothering Tithe. Smothering Tithe needs a new introduction. Very good. Then our other ramp is Creature Ramp, because creatures turn to enchantments via Myrkul. It's really cool. Or a creature that is already enchantment. We have Soul Ring. We can never go without Soul Ring. That's just in every deck because Soul Ring's super fun. Sanctum Weaver scales with enchantment. So even if you have creatures like, let's say, Wood Elves that have an ETB effect and essentially do nothing if they're in enchantment zone with Myrkul, they're still there. They can be used with Sanctum Weaver and stuff. So there's always benefits of just having enchantments around. We have our Mana Dorks, so if they die, they just become Mana Rocks, enchantment Mana Rocks. Not even artifact Mana Rocks, so safer than artifacts. Secure Tribouter, Self-Sacrifice, which is super good. Even in the late game, we have Myrkul round. You play Secure Tribouter, sack it, comes back. Then you can sack that enchantment to get another land. We have our Mana Fetchers right here. Farhaven Elf, Wood Elf, Solemn Simulacrum. Most of you know what they do. Farhaven Elf gets a basic. Wood Elf can get a force, which is super cool. Solemn is really cool because you could just get your land, sack Solemn, draw a card, then comes back with Myrkul, get your land, sack it again, draw more cards. I think that's super good. Usually I don't play Solemn in green decks, but if there's a reason to play it, this is definitely the reason. And then we have another card that's not used a lot, Yavimaya Dryad. I have this over Topiary Stomper because it's 1 green, Forest Walk. When ETBs, you may search your library for a forest card, put it in the battlefield, tap under target player's control, usually your control, then shuffle your library. It does have Forest Walk, that's why you can put it under your opponent's control, but usually under your control. And it doesn't say basic forest, so it's kind of like the Wood Elves thing. Some of the lands, we have the 3-color land package, rainbow land package. We have Murmuring Boss, which is actually really cool. here. It is a forest. The ETB's tapped because we don't really have a tree folk. And then you can also add green for no pain, or white or black for 1 damage. Again, losing life might not be a bad thing in this deck. We have the Battle Bond lands, the shock lands. Shocking a shock land, doing nothing with it could be a possibility in the early game because you want to get your life low for Myrkul. So, I mean, if your opponents attack you, you might just take damage because you just want to get your life low. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword if they do attack you. We do have the Horizon lands, and we actually have the full cycle here because Horizon Canopy is the only allied land that you could tap for the colors or pay 1 sack, draw a card. Again, losing life is not a problem in this deck. We sometimes want to lose it. And then we have our channel lands, Takenuma, Aganjo, and Boseiju. Boseiju being the most important one here. I love these cards. Takenuma, I know, goes against, is like a little bit anti-synergy again because you get things back from your graveyard. But, creatures will die without Myrkul. So, or you can play as a land. So don't worry about that. It's all good. There I have utility lands, our other lands, Bojuka Bog, Exile Graveyard, Orborg, Phyrexian Tower to, I said Orborg Yavimaya, sorry, to, make those pain lands less painful if necessary. Phyrexian Tower, high market way to sack creatures. Then we have Hall of Heelite's Generosity, get enchantments back. We do have Tyrite Sanctum, which is really cool from Kaldheim. Add colorless, then pay 2 target legendary creature becomes a god in addition to its other type of +1/+1 counter. Yes, you can activate it even though it's already a god multiple times as long as it's legendary. The cool part is right here. 4, sacrifice Tyrant Sanctum, put an indestructible counter on target god. Our Myrkul is already a god, so you don't have to promote through godhood through the mill ability. You can just do it, give it permanent indestructibility versus variable one. So it might be good if you can't get your life down too low that you just make it permanently indestructible. I just like it because it references the word god and we're playing a deck with a god in it. So we mentioned Hall of Heliod's Generosity, get the enchantments back, put on top of your deck. Feel the Dead, it's on theme. Like, these things are dead creatures, coming back to life. Feel dead zombies. Then you have Thespian Stage Vesuva for fun shenanigans. The Tyrant Sanctum is not legendary, so you can copy it for whatever reason, but usually you can copy Field of the Dead. These are legendary right here, so don't copy those. You can Vesuva in a Bojuka Bog and exile somebody else's graveyard. So really fun stuff. We have our lands, our basic lands from the Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate deck with the comments. When I'm saying comments, the flavor text right there. Okay, so that is our deck. If you enjoy the deck so far, give the video a thumbs up, smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, add some comments, do all the fun stuff, but do not include this card in your deck. That's right, don't include that card in your deck. Make your deck, enjoy it. There's a deck list in the description below. I love this deck. It's super fun, and I just shuffled my deck all messed up, so I gotta fix that. But as I go fix that, stay tuned, and we'll get ready for gold fishing, and we'll be right back. We are back, turn 1, Myrkul, Lord of Bones. I hope I'm saying it right. Myrkul. It sounds like Myrkul. Just love this. Aristocrats, enchantment, theme, Abzan. A little different than Gave. Gave is all about tokens and counters. Two mainline. I want an Enchantress deck without being Sithis, because Sithis is insanely too powerful. And this just is a very good balance. I think this is a great hand. We have the unfortunate Bojuka Bog here, 2 green lands. Ramp, the Seer is very important. Then Sanctum Weaver is extremely important. And we got 2 enchantments for Sanctum Weaver, so that's good. Beldur's Witherbloom costs 7, just like Myrkul. So we'll see. Okay. We might play Bojuka Bog turn 1. Let's do it. Okay, we're definitely playing Bojuka Bog turn 1 because we have no way to play it turn 2, right? Because we want to cast Vizier. If this is Swamp, we'll cast Vizier turn 1, but if not. The reason we want to play it turn 1 because you have no other plays. We could play Wild Growth, but Wild Growth essentially has haste, as you can see. If we go turn 2, you can always enchant the other land that you want to enchant. For instance, let's go Yavimaya, and this can produce green via Yavimaya, or Yavimaya can produce green. Then what you can do is essentially tap this to enchant, let's say, a Bojuka Bog with Wild Growth. Tap that for 2, which is great. Play our Sanctum Weaver. because this is enchant land. Some have enchant forest, but it's also forest via Yavimaya, but you could do that. Now this will tap for 2 next turn, so we didn't lose too much with that Bojuka Bog there. Turn 3. Horizon Canopy, it's not bad. 2 lands. So I forgot to tell you the cool trick is if you have Vizier Seer on the board, you have Sanctum Weaver, you could tap Sanctum Weaver, well, and Myrkul, Sanctum Weaver, sack it. It becomes a non-creature. You could tap it for more mana. So that's how you do a double tap, get it, double tap. Eidolon Blossoms, forgot we drew that the other day. Turn 2, just didn't even care. We had our plan planned out. So let's see here. We have this. We have 4 mana. What we could do is we could ramp some more. Omen of the Hunt, Vizier Seer, or we could just cast Eidolon Blossom here and then start getting value, drawing cards from there. So it depends on how greedy we want. I think, yeah, we're greedy. Do we want to ramp ourselves to Myrkul? I don't know. I don't know what the right solution is. I think what we could do is actually just play these 2 out. Oh, we have more mana. Oops, forgot. Oh god, I forgot. I'm bad at this game. Let's tap this. Tap this. Let's float the black. Float the 1 black here. We'll play Omen of the Hunt here. And this can tap for 3 mana. Can actually play Eidolon Blossoms right there. Or we could play Eidolon Blossoms first. Let's do that. Eidolon Blossoms first. Okay, we got it. We figured it. We're there. Play this first. Draw a card. Right? And then tap this for 3. Right? Itself plus Blossom plus Wild Growth. We'll play Omen of the Hunt. Right? When it ETBs, search your life for a basic land card, put into play taps. We'll get ourselves a swamp since we have Yavimaya. ETB here. We'll get that. And then we will search for a swamp now. Okay, now we know how to play this game. I totally forgot about our turn 2 play there. Our Sanctum Weaver, which is very, very broken, by the way. It's a very good card. It's one of the best plays in Enchantress next to Sarah Sanctum itself, which is a reserveless card I don't have in my deck, so don't worry, it's not in the deck. Alright, so we're going to get basic land, play tap. We can sack this to Scry 2, but that's not happening. I'd rather keep it on the board for Sanctum Weaver. Enjoy Elesh Norn. Bunch of 7 drops along with our commander, but next turn, 7-drop land might happen. Okay, so let's see here. We'll untap all our goodies here. Draw a card, a Ganjo. Got plenty of lands. We have not dealt damage to ourselves, so our commander is not indestructible. But we'll see. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this taps for 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we have 9. I think what we want to do is just put our Vizier Seer right away. And then I think we'll save Elesh Norn because we want to have Myrkul on the board with Vizier Seer just in case they get rid of it. Elesh Norn, like Beldrill's Witherbloom, I don't mind them killing. It's not a big deal. So we'll do that. 1, 2. This taps 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 more black mana. We'll just tap everything. We have mana floating. Play Beldrill's Witherbloom. We could be mean and just pay 10 life on tap our lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 1 floating. We just don't have enough. Actually, we do have enough. You know, one day I will figure out how to play this game. Okay, let's do this again. Do over. It's turn 4. I totally forgot to even write our turn counter in there. We did ramp. We didn't play a land, so we'll play a forest. Right there. Actually, we don't have any white lands, so it's probably just realize this is not a Golgari deck. This is a Abzan deck. White is important. We should have got planes with this, but I wasn't thinking. So, anyways, back to this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 here. We played our Vizier Seer. So we have 5. And then we tap this for, so we have 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9. Make sure we're right here. Play our Beldrill's Witherbloom. here. Oh, the colors are good there. We have 2. Now we could pay 10 life, untap our lands. Right there. We have the white, the black, this and this. We can keep 1 untapped. Black, white, green, green. So this is 5 mana. So that is 7. We'll play Myrkul, Lord of Bones. There we go. There we go. We got it. Boom. And they have a force untapped for whatever reason. Now this is really cool because we have, these are in hand, but that doesn't matter. We could just do it at ETB, is just sack Myrkul. I mean, sack this to Vizier Seer, right there. It'll come back as an enchantment, not an enchantment creature. Let's get a little enchantment thing here. This is a creature. It was an enchantment. ETB, draw a card. Draw a Phyrexian Tower. We can now activate it again, pay 10 life again, which would get us Myrkul indestructible. So if somebody try to kill it, we could pay 10 life. So we could pay 10 life. Right there. Do it again. Now we're at below 20. We're at below 40. All the way at 20. So it's indestructible. I have a little counter there. It's not really a counter, but it's just a state. This is tapped. So what you can do is do a neat trick I told you about. Sack this to Myrkul. To Vizier Seer. We forgot to scry. Seer, scry there. Let's pretend we scry for Beldros. This will be Sanctum Weaver. Enchantment mode now has haste. We draw from Item of Blossoms. Overgrowth. That's sweet. So we can actually play Overgrowth. Here. We can use Yavimaya for Horizon Canopy not to take a lot of damage. Put Overgrowth on our Bojuka Bog. Why not? Let's see here. What else do we want to sack? We'll just sack our Eidolon of Blossoms itself. Sack. Here. This is another enchantment. Now we are running out of blockers, remember. But Beldros Witherbloom keeps making new pest tokens. So this ETBs, draw a card. Plumb the Forbidden. We could tap this. Any X mana of any one color, so all white. Tap this for how many enchantments we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 white. Tap this for a colorless. We'll put Elvish Norn as a regular creature onto the battlefield. We can sack it or not sack it, up to you. We can even sack it with Plumb the Forbidden. So we could just say, hey, this looks like a great turn. Go. I stole my turn dice too. So turn 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, turn 4 is a great turn. We got Elvish Norn, Beldros Witherbloom. Let's go around the table. We'll make 4 pest. We'll make I almost do my dice again. 4 pest here. Then we'll draw our card. Turn 5 is looking great for Myrkul. Bell get a recovery. Got nothing in the yard because we kind of exiled all these creatures. These are creatures that are technically exiled. Elvish Norn could be a creature. If anything happens, we can sack Elvish Norn to scry. Let's see here. We have Plumb the Forbidden, so we can gain back our life. Be careful. You probably only want to gain so much life. This lose life, sorry. These gain life, so I guess they break even. But we want to do that little the balance of staying at around 20, but not too low, not at 10. So we could just do this. We actually play our land Phyrexian Tower, and then we could do a Plumb the Forbidden. We could sack 5 creatures here. We'll do sack 4 pest, and then sack Elvish Norn. Elvish Norn will be exiled, turned to an enchantment. That's pretty crazy. I would actually chump attack with all the pests first, because Elvish Norn makes them 3/3s. You could do that. So Plumb the Forbidden. Right there, you would sack 5 things, you draw 6 because you copy it 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you draw 1 for the regular copy, 5. And we did play Phyrexian Tower as our land. We are running out of creatures. We do need a board wipe here. We have this Cinder Haze Wretch right there. So this is a devastating combo. We'll tap this for 4 mana. 5. We'll just play this. Cinder Haze Wretch. We'll just say screw it. We'll sack it right away. This enchantment lets us draw a card from, I don't know, Blossoms. Almost forgot that one. We'll sack this. Turn it to enchantment. I ran out of thingies. So we'll just do this. We'll scry. Vanquish. Oh, keep Vanquish the Horde. That's great. Keep that in there. Vanquish the Horde. We will draw a card from Eidolon Blossoms. This is now an enchantment. And what we'll do is we'll just make our opponents discard a card. Put a -1/-1 counter on this. Make our opponents discard all the cards. We have all the cards. Turn 5. This card's amazing. You want else really broken? This card, which I didn't even untap. I didn't even use this turn. Super broken here. We could do Weaver of Harmony. This is cool, so you could do this. Tap this for a bunch of mana. Do this. Right? Other enchantment gets +1/+1. It doesn't matter. You sack this. You could do this. Here, now copy target triggered or activated abilities from enchantment source. So you could trigger this. You could sack this, get these ETBs. You could trigger this, draw a card, trigger that twice. You know, do some shenanigans. You could trigger this Doomwake Giant twice. So super good. You can plumb the Forbidden again with Battlegate Recovery. Remember, another round across the table gets you more Battlejost Witherbloom tokens. Make him very big with Elish Norn. Insane Manador. This is enchantment too. All these are enchantments. You could do a board wipe, Vanquish the Horde. You wouldn't even kill Myrkul, it's indestructible. You kill Viseer or Sack Outlet, which can come back as an enchantment, which is pretty cool. Anyways, that is how the deck works. The deck's super strong. If you enjoy this deck tech, give the deck a thumbs up. Give a video a thumbs up. Smash subscribe button. Hit the notification bell for be alert for new videos in the future. Leave a comment below because you know you love how this deck plays. Usually I play 6 turns. I played only 5 turns. This deck is ridiculous. Or that card is ridiculous. I think it's more that card than the deck, but the deck is pretty cool anyways. But as always, have a wonderful day.